The Penny Rebellion. How a neighborhood took down a tyrannical HOA. Every neighborhood has its quirks: front yards too wild, Christmas lights lingering past January, or a basketball hoop forgotten overnight. But in the quiet suburb of Willow Creek, a tidy community of brick homes and manicured lawns just outside Charlotte, North Carolina, we had something far worse. Evelyn Harper, the newly elected president of our Homeowners Association, HOA. At first, Evelyn seemed harmless. Her campaign flyer, tucked into every mailbox, featured glossy photos of her golden retriever in a bow tie, her family waving from a picnic, and promises of community unity through shared standards. She was a 50-something realtor with a polished smile and a knack for organizing potlucks. We thought she'd be strict but fair. Within weeks, though, Evelyn's version of standards turned Willow Creek into her fiefdom. It started with notes: bright yellow post it slapped on mailboxes or trash bins. Mine read, "Lid not fully closed. Respect our aesthetic." Annoying, but I shrugged it off. She was new, eager to make her mark. Then came the fines. The first was $20 for unauthorized garden decor because my daughter, Lily, stuck a ceramic turtle by our rose bush. A week later, I got a $15 citation for festive mailbox embellishment after hanging a tiny pumpkin magnet for Halloween. The fines grew weirder and pricier: $10 for irregular lawn texture, $50 for a visible HVAC unit, and me favorite $100 because our dog, Max, barked for excessive duration during a squirrel chase. Evelyn didn't just enforce rules, she invented them. Our HOA charter had a vague clause about community harmony, which she wielded like a sledgehammer. When I asked where the bark duration rule was written, she smirked and said, "It's implied under harmony standards." I interpret the charter for a reason. She wasn't alone in her crusade. My neighbor, Mrs. Clara, a sweet 70-year-old widow, got fined $30 for a crooked hanging planter. A young couple down the street was hit with $75 because their red SUV was deemed non-neutral. Every morning, we'd find Evelyn's envelopes taped to our doors, often with handwritten zingers like, "Consider your choices," or "Eyes are always on you." We started joking she had a surveillance drone until someone caught her flying one over backyards, filming violations. HOA meetings became her stage. She'd silence questions with jargon, citing obscure rules like Section 6, Clause 4.1. All exterior elements must align with collective uniformity. When pressed for clarity, she'd snap. "That's why I'm president." She insisted we address her as Madam President, and even installed a private mailbox at the HOA office, complete with letterhead proclaiming, "Evelyn Harper, Guardian of Willow Creek Values." It was absurd, but her allies, a mix of yoga friends and spineless board members, nodded along. The fines kept coming. I was billed $200 in 1 week for visible grass clippings, a non-approved wreath, and leaving my porch light on past 10 p.m. Evelyn's newsletter featured a spotlight on standards, shaming residents with blurry photos of offensive lawns or decorations. I appeared twice. Appeals were useless. She rejected mine for lacking remorse. When I asked how to show remorse, she demanded a typed, double-spaced apology in blue ink. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about rules. It was about power. The breaking point came when Evelyn fined me $150 for disruptive wind activity because my garden wind chime tinkled during a breeze. Her letter read, "Rogue vibrations undermine communal serenity." I laughed until I cried. Then I decided, if Evelyn wanted compliance, she'd get it in the most infuriating, legal way possible. I'd pay every fine, every cent, in pennies. Truckloads of them. The plan wasn't just mine. I called a secret meeting in my garage with 6 neighbors who'd had enough. There was Sarah, a paralegal whose teal minivan had been fined; Tom, a retired mechanic fined for overly festive Christmas lights; and Clara, who was still fuming over her planter. We tallied our fines: $3,412.67 total, or 341,267 pennies. Federal law confirmed pennies were legal tender, and the HOA charter didn't specify payment methods. We were in the clear. Sarah contacted her bank to order bulk coins. Tom rented a flatbed truck from a buddy's landscaping business. I designed stickers for the penny boxes, each labeled with the violation they covered, like Turtle Terror or Wreath Rebellion. We nicknamed it Operation Copper Flood. The bank took 10 days to deliver the pennies, so we used the time to plan like we were pulling off a heist. Tom built a ramp to unload the pallets without damaging the HOA property. Sarah notarized an invoice listing every fine. Clara baked cookies for morale. The night before the drop, we met in Tom's driveway, sipping coffee and wearing paper hats made from Evelyn's newsletters. We rehearsed our lines. "Here's your payment, Madam President. Hope you've got a coin counter." At dawn, we loaded 18 boxes each over 80 pounds onto the truck. As we pulled into the HOA lot, neighbors followed in their cars, some filming, one flying a drone. It felt like a parade. Evelyn was at the office door, sipping from a mug that read, "I rule Willow Creek." She waved, probably thinking we were there to beg. Then she saw the truck. Her face froze. Tom, in sunglasses, stepped out and said, "Delivery for Madam President. Curbside or inside?" Her jaw dropped as we unloaded the first pallet, labeled for unauthorized wind chimes. Neighbors cheered. Evelyn sputtered, "This is outrageous." "You can't," Sarah cut her off, waving the invoice. Legal tender, fully compliant. The scene at the Willow Creek HOA office was chaos wrapped in glee. As we unloaded pallet after pallet of pennies, each box meticulously labeled with violations like excessive pumpkin magnet or turtle-induced disharmony, Evelyn Harper's face cycled through shock, fury, and something close to panic. Neighbors lined the sidewalk, filming with phones and a drone buzzing overhead. One guy blasted Sweet Caroline from his car stereo, and the crowd sang along, swapping Caroline for Evelyn. It was petty, glorious, and perfectly legal. Evelyn tried to regain control. "This is a disruption," she shouted, clutching her clipboard like a shield. "You're obstructing HOA property." Sarah, our paralegal neighbor, stepped forward, cool as ice. Per Bylaw 4.2, deliveries are permitted between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., provided a 5-foot walkway remains accessible. We've complied ADA standards and all. Evelyn's eyes darted to the neatly stacked boxes, each with a sticker reading, "Paid in full per HOA guidelines." She ripped open one box, revealing thousands of pennies in clear bags, and gasped like she'd seen a ghost. The crowd clapped politely, some waving old HOA newsletters like victory flags. Tom, our retired mechanic, backed the truck into position, its beeping echoing off the office walls. "Box 3, he announced, "for unauthorized porch light illumination." The crowd roared. Evelyn dialed her board members, but half were already there, standing among us, hiding grins. Turns out, they'd been waiting for someone to challenge her. A local news van pulled up, sensing a story. Within minutes, a reporter was filming as Evelyn tried to block the HOA sign with her blazer. "This is private," she barked. "Public property," the cameraman shot back. "And pure gold." Two kids from down the street dove into a loose box of pennies, tossing handfuls like confetti. "It's money rain," one shouted. Evelyn turned a shade of red that could have stopped traffic. "You'll scratch the pavement," she screeched. Sarah quipped, "That's a new violation, right? Rule 8.3, no emotional pavement trauma." Even the drone operator got in on it, blaring "Money, money, money" by ABBA from a speaker. The final pallet, labeled "In Memory of Sanity," landed right by Evelyn's precious mailbox. I held up a single penny and said, "Harmony restored, Madam President." The crowd cheered as we walked off, leaving Evelyn surrounded by her copper nightmare. We thought the penny drop would be the end, or at least a pause. But Evelyn wasn't one to retreat. Less than 48 hours later, every mailbox in Willow Creek had a neon orange flyer taped to it. Ironic, since her own Rule 2.5 banned adhesives on HOA property. The flyer declared an emergency compliance review, accusing us of hostile delivery tactics and announcing mandatory inspections. Evelyn's new compliance task force, a trio of her yoga buddies armed with measuring tapes and cameras, began patrolling. They measured everything: welcome mats, head shadows, even the angle of a Halloween skeleton's arm, citing it for aggressive posture. The fines hit like a tsunami. Sarah got 8 in one day, including 2 for her wind chimes and 1 for whimsical garden design. Tom was slapped with $150 for hosting a barbecue, deemed an unauthorized yard gathering. I got a $200 citation for failure to restore order post-currency dispersal. Evelyn wasn't just mad, she was organized. Overnight, she launched a digital HOA portal that tracked infractions and added escalating penalties for repeat offenders. She introduced a 3-strike rule. 3 violations in 60 days triggered a probationary review, a term that made us sound like criminals, not homeowners. Worse, Evelyn fast-tracked a board vote at 6 a.m. on a Wednesday, claiming it was within protocol. The board, cowed or complicit, approved her measures. She disabled comments on the portal and required appeals to be submitted via her locked mailbox. It was tyranny in a cardigan. Clara, our widowed neighbor, got fined $250 for visual dissonance because her recycling bin was visible. A retiree was cited for a jingly wreath. People stopped decorating, afraid to draw Evelyn's wrath. She strutted around in a high-visibility vest labeled Compliance Inspector, like she was policing a war zone, not a suburb. Evelyn went public, too. On a local podcast, she decried a subversive culture undermining Willow Creek's aesthetic stability, calling us coin-wielding insurgents. When asked if she regretted anything, she sneered, "I regret not raising fines sooner. They don't know who's in charge." That quote lit up our group chat. Then came the bombshell. Evelyn filed motions to place liens on 3 homes, mine, Sarah's, and Tom S. for continued noncompliance. Liens. Over wind chimes and turtles. This wasn't a game anymore. Sarah nearly lost it. She's trying to steal our homes over fake fines. Tom called an emergency meeting in his garage. If she wants war, we'll bring legal hell. We realized Evelyn's weapon was the HOA bylaws, but they could be ours, too. Sarah, with her paralegal background, dove into the charter, cross-referencing every clause. She found gold. Article 3, Section 1.3 required HOA officers to be primary residents. Evelyn had listed her Willow Creek house as her residence, but public records showed she lived 20 miles away in a gated community, renting out her local property to Airbnb guests. The evidence was airtight: tax records, a lease agreement, even a review from a renter named Jake, complaining about an overzealous HOA lady who kept showing up. Evelyn's candidacy was invalid. She'd been an unelected dictator all along. We didn't just sit on this. Sarah compiled a report with notarized documents, timelines, and screenshots. Tom suggested we skip the HOA meeting. Evelyn would shut us down and go straight to the county mediator's office. We filed a fraud complaint and petitioned for an emergency homeowners meeting, backed by 35% of residents, well over the 15% required. The meeting was held in the community center, a bland room with folding chairs and a flickering projector. Evelyn arrived with her task force, smirking like she'd already won. "Let's make this quick," she said, waving her iPad. She didn't expect our setup: a table labeled Evelyn's paper trail, stacked with evidence, and a screen ready to display it. Sarah took the floor. Click. This is Evelyn's listed residence. Click. This is her actual home, 20 miles away. Click. Here's her Airbnb lease, signed before her candidacy. Evelyn stammered, "This is irrelevant." "I was elected." Tom corrected her, "illegally. Bylaw 3.1.3 voids your candidacy. You had no right to run, vote, or fine anyone." Murmurs spread. Even her allies squirmed. "You're rule breakers," Evelyn shouted. "Why list a P.O. box for HOA mail while renting to Jake?" Sarah asked, holding up his review. The room gasped. We projected a letter from the HOA's insurer. Decisions by an invalid president could make the HOA liable for damages. Panic set in. Board members whispered, one Googling HOA removal. We called an emergency vote. Of 45 homeowners, 39 voted to remove Evelyn. The rest abstained. Not one vote kept her. She stood frozen, muttering, "This isn't over." Sarah smiled. "It is." We took our neighborhood back 1 penny at a time. As we left, Clara slipped a penny into Evelyn's blazer pocket and whispered, "For your troubles, Madam President." The air in Willow Creek felt lighter the morning after Evelyn Harper's ousting. Neighbors waved from porches, some daring to hang colorful flags or plant new garden gnomes without fear of a yellow post-it. But if we thought Evelyn would slink away quietly, we'd underestimated her. Tyrants don't fade, they flail. Within 72 hours, our mailboxes were hit with a new assault. a cease and desist notice, printed in bold, all-caps font, looking like it was designed by someone who'd binged legal dramas and energy drinks. It accused me, Sarah, Tom, and bizarrely, Jake the Airbnb renter, of defamation, trespassing via drone, illegal coin dumping, and disruption of suburban tranquility. It was unhinged, yet chilling. Evelyn had hired a lawyer. His name was Leonard Pratt, a personal injury attorney whose bus stop ads promised justice for less. His business card misspelled litigation, but he was real enough to file a small claims suit. The complaint included screenshots of our penny drop, circled HOA newsletters, and grainy footage of kids tossing pennies, labeled as mob activity. Tom was livid. We expose her fraud, and she sues us for being right. Sarah, ever the paralegal, saw it differently. She's desperate, but by suing, she's opened herself to discovery. Big mistake. Our lawyer, Anita Coleman, was a quiet powerhouse who wore blazers like armor and wielded legal briefs like a sword. She didn't just defend us, she counterattacked. Her response denied Evelyn's claims and filed a countersuit for misuse of HOA funds, fraud, emotional distress, and most damning unlawful occupancy. Discovery revealed Evelyn had stayed in her Willow Creek rental during vacant weekends, violating her own short-term rental rules and nullifying the HOA's insurance. It was a legal gut punch. Then came the bombshell. Evelyn had embezzled. HOA records showed she'd spent $3,200 from the general fund on custom signs, branded stationery, and a drone with aesthetic surveillance capabilities. One receipt listed $120 for sweatshirts embroidered with President Forever. Anita's filing was surgical, exposing every misstep. Leonard Pratt emailed a settlement offer. Evelyn would drop her suit if we removed social media posts and apologized. Anita replied, offer declined. The small claims judge, a no-nonsense woman with 30 years on the bench, reviewed the filings and laughed. Your client's suing for embarrassment she caused herself, she told Pratt. Don't clog my docket. Evelyn's case was dismissed with prejudice. She couldn't refile. Our countersuit, however, was greenlit for civil court, where damages could hit 5 figures. The HOA board, now free of Evelyn's allies, launched a full audit. It uncovered more. Evelyn had inflated landscaping contracts to her friends and billed the HOA for morale lunches at a wine bar, solo. Her reign was a scam wrapped in bureaucracy. Evelyn's final act was a voicemail to Sarah, recorded and shared in our group chat. I was the HOA, she screamed. You're ungrateful nobodies. I'll be back. We didn't flinch. The board passed a motion banning her from future HOA roles and named the office's mailbox garden Copper Court in honor of our rebellion. Neighbors started wearing shirts that read, I paid in pennies. Evelyn's legacy wasn't power, it was a punchline. The penny drop went viral. A neighbor's drone footage, posted anonymously on YouTube, hit 2.5 million views in a few days. Set to For the Love of Money by the OJs, it captured Evelyn's meltdown, kids tossing pennies, and Tom reading violations like a game show host. Reddit threads exploded with titles like HOA Tyrant Drowned in Pennies and Copper Justice in Suburbia. TikTok teens stitched reaction videos, sharing their own HOA nightmares. Memes flooded Twitter. Evelyn photoshopped onto a penny throne, captioned, All hail the Copper Queen. Another mocked her as a horror villain in HOA, House of Absurdity. Evelyn tried to fight back, filing a copyright strike against the video, claiming unauthorized use of my likeness. It failed. The footage was public, and the HOA logo was generic clip art. Her strike only boosted the video's reach. YouTubers covered it, one titling their segment, She Find a Wind Chime, so they buried her in pennies. A TikTok lawyer broke down the saga, ending with, Never mess with neighbors who read bylaws. Even a late-night comic riffed on it. Some HOA presidents want nice lawns. Others want a rule like suburban Stalins. The humiliation stung Evelyn where it hurt most. Her career. A part-time realtor, she'd bragged about harmonious property deals. But her brokerage dropped her, citing values misalignment after her drone flying, penny drowning fame. Evelyn tried to rebrand with a YouTube channel, Truth Behind the HOA, where she ranted about penny propaganda. Her first video, filmed in her car, got 92 views and 300 dislikes. A commenter wrote, Your lighting's as hostile as your fines. She posted once more, defending her drone as aesthetic oversight. It was remixed into a TikTok dance track, Drone Queen Anthem, charting for a week. Meanwhile, Willow Creek healed. The board, now led by Sarah, refunded all of Evelyn's fines $19,000 total using her compliance fund. We tore down her signs, like Smile, Standards Are Watching, and replaced them with community art, a mural of a dog in shades, captioned, Chill Vibes Only. We held a bylaw bonfire, burning Evelyn's Rules Clause 5.2. Porch swings must not sway beyond 15 degrees, Rule 7.8. Decor must lack emotional intensity. The drone manual, written in her loopy handwriting, went up in cheers. But it wasn't all laughs. Mr. Ellis, an 80-year-old widower, shared how Evelyn's fines for his non-compliant cane made him avoid walks. I felt like a stranger in my own home, he said. We refunded his $400 and named a park bench Ellis Rest in his honor. That moment shifted us from rebellion to restoration. Sarah's board rewrote the bylaws, prioritizing clarity and fairness. Meetings were live-streamed, budgets posted online, and Evelyn's locked mailbox was replaced with a little free library stocked with a copy of The Art of War and, yes, a single penny glued inside. Evelyn's shadow lingered. She joined a local Facebook group under Concerned Neighbor and posted a blurry photo of a misplaced trash bin, hinting at declining standards. Her cover was blown when a car window reflection showed her old clipboard. Sarah confirmed Evelyn was crashing at her sister's house just outside Willow Creek, close enough to lurk. For 2 weeks, she hovered filming TikToks nobody watched, handing out fake citations at a cleanup event, including one to a teen for improper sock-to-shoe ratio. The board acted fast, passing the perimeter rule. Non-residents couldn't monitor or file complaints on HOA property. When Evelyn crashed a meeting, waving a printed agenda and demanding to propose bassline-free music and pastel-only flamingos, Sarah slid her a trespass notice. You're not a resident or a leader, Sarah said. You're just a story we tell. Tom handed her a tote bag with a burned President Forever sweatshirt, a laminated fine, and a penny taped to a note. Refund for your chaos. Evelyn tripped on a flamingo as she stormed out, her fall caught on video. Titled Evelyn's Exit, it hit 1.2 million views. TikTok's official account commented, iconic flop. With Evelyn Harper banished, Willow Creek could have settled into quiet normalcy. But we didn't just want to move on, we wanted to rebuild. Evelyn's reign had left scars. Neighbors who'd paid thousands in fines, others too scared to hang a wreath, and a community trust that felt like it had been run through a shredder. The penny dropped was our rebellion. But what came next was our revolution. Led by Sarah, our new HOA board didn't just clean up Evelyn's mess. They turned Willow Creek into a blueprint for how neighborhoods could govern themselves with fairness, humor, and a touch of defiance. The first step was financial justice. Sarah proposed refunding every fine Evelyn had issued, with interest funded by liquidating her compliance enforcement fund, a slush pile she'd used for drones and sweatshirts. The motion passed unanimously. Tom built a website, Reclaim Your Cash, where residents submitted claims. Within days, we processed $20,500 in refunds for offenses like overly vibrant tulips or non-compliant mailbox flags. Even the bank teller who'd helped us order Pennies filed a claim she'd been fined $50 when visiting her aunt for unauthorized parking enthusiasm. We replaced Evelyn's signs, like Standards Are Watching, with community art. One was a cartoon flamingo with a raised wing, captioned, Free to be me. Another showed a dog in aviators, Bark loud, love proud. The real transformation came at the Great Bylaw Burn. We gathered in the community park, each resident bringing a copy of their least favorite Evelyn rule. Into the fire pit went Clause 6.4. All decor must project neutral emotional energy. Gone was Rule 9.1. Wind chimes must not exceed harmonic frequency thresholds. The drone policy, scribbled in Evelyn's cursive, drew the loudest cheers as it burned. But the event wasn't just cathartic. Mr. Ellis, the widower fined for his cane, spoke up. I stopped walking my street because of her cameras, he said, voice cracking. I thought I didn't belong. We named a garden path Ellis Way and gave him back every cent. That night, Willow Creek stopped being a punchline and became a family. Sarah's board rewrote the HOA charter from scratch. No more legalese designed to confuse. A high school teacher edited the rules for clarity, and we posted them online with summaries. Fair fines equals vote required. No drones equals privacy first. Meetings were open, live-streamed, and dog-friendly. Kids got candy for sitting through them. Evelyn's locked mailbox was now a little free library, stocked with gardening books and a penny taped inside, labeled for emergency pettiness. We launched a public Facebook page, Willow Creek United, for lost pets, potluck invites, and birthday chatuts. No fines, just connection. A neighbor hung a garage sign. Evelyn's gone. We're good. The changes weren't just local. Anita, our lawyer, suggested submitting our new charter to the North Carolina HOA Commission as a model policy. You've built a democracy, she said. We compiled a 50-page report, the charter, resident testimonials, and before and after photos of lawns blooming with color post-Evelyn. Tom added a cheeky caption, from fines to flamingos. We sent it off, expecting nothing. 3 weeks later, an email arrived. Your charter is accepted as a model framework for HOA governance. It will inform state reform efforts. Reporters called. Sarah was quoted in a housing journal. We traded fear for fairness, bureaucracy for community. The state published an op-ed, The Willow Creek Reformation, calling us a beacon of homeowner empowerment. Our block party, renamed Copperfest, became a legend. Food trucks lined the street, kids bounced in castles, and a mechanical flamingo tossed pennies into buckets for prizes. Adults wore shirts saying, I survived the fine apocalypse. A local politician brought a copper medallion engraved, 1 cent for freedom, which became our HOA seal, inscribed with In Community, We Trust. Sarah spoke at an HOA conference, Democracy in the Suburbs, wearing a penny-shaped pin. Her line, We didn't just fight a tyrant, we built a better neighborhood, went viral on LinkedIn. Evelyn, predictably, couldn't stay away. She moved into her cousin's guest room just outside Willow Creek, close enough to meddle. Under the alias Concerned Citizen, she posted on our Facebook page, griping about a premature trash bin, with a photo that accidentally showed her old clipboard in a car window. Busted. For 2 weeks, she lurked filming unwatched TikToks, handing out fake citations at a cleanup, including one for a kid's disruptive sneaker color. Sarah's board passed the perimeter protocol, barring non-residents from monitoring HOA property. When Evelyn crashed a meeting, demanding a ban on aggressive garden gnomes, Sarah handed her a trespass notice. You're not our president, Sarah said. You're a cautionary tale. Tom gave her a tote with a singed sweatshirt and a penny labeled, Final refund for chaos. Evelyn's exit tripping over a flamingo was filmed, hitting 1.5 million views as the fall of Finazilla. The viral wave didn't stop. Our penny drop video, now at 3 million views, inspired a subreddit, r/HO Rebels, where users shared stories of rogue presidents fined for unauthorized bird songs. A mobile game, Penny Toss, let players pelt a cartoon Evelyn with coins. It topped app charts. Evelyn tried suing TikTok for digital defamation, targeting creators who remixed her affront to order rant into a techno banger. Her lawyer, Leonard Pratt, claimed satirical defilement of authority. The courts laughed it off. The plaintiff's distress stems from her actions, not unlawful mockery. One judge added, her ego isn't a legal right. TikTokers doubled down with skits, deep fakes of Evelyn as a movie villain, and a comic book, Copper Uprising, where a flamingo army toppled Baroness Fine. Proceeds fund housing justice charities. Evelyn's real estate career was toast. Her brokerage's statement, we value respect, unlike recent actions by an agent, was a public kiss-off. Her YouTube rants, unveiling HOA lies, got 100 views, mostly bots. A commenter noted, your drone policy screams dystopia. She posted on fringe forums, calling TikTok a miscreant wasteland, but replies were brutal. You found a shadow. Chill. The final blow was a class action suit from 12 Willow Creek residents, seeking damages for Evelyn's illegal fines. She tried a Facebook Live rebuttal, but penny emojis and flamingo gifs flooded the chat. Her lawyer urged her to settle. She refused, yelling in a deposition, I won't bow to digital mobs. The mediator replied, "You silenced a neighborhood. They're just louder now." Willow Creek thrived. Gardens bloomed with wild colors, flags waved, and a pink flamingo in a "Not Today" Evelyn sash became a local icon. Realtors pitched our liberated neighborhood as a selling point, home to the Penny Rebellion, now a tight-knit, law-savvy community. New buyers love the lore. Sarah's podcast, HOA Heroes, climbed Apple's charts, sharing homeowner victories nationwide. Tom's meme, "I pay and wait, not anger," became a reformer's badge. Evelyn's blog, The HOA Truth, got 15 views, 2 from us. Willow Creek wasn't just a neighborhood, Anna Maria, it was a movement. The penny drop, born from a mix of frustration and mischief, had toppled Evelyn Harper's reign and sparked a national conversation about HOA reform. Our story, splashed across headlines from local papers to the Washington Post, turned our quiet Charlotte suburb into a symbol of what happens when homeowners say enough. But the real victory wasn't the viral videos or the memes. It was what we built after the copper dust settled, a community that thrived on fairness, creativity, and a refusal to let another Evelyn rise. The new HOA charter, dubbed the Willow Creek Model, became a beacon. After the state HOA Commission endorsed it, Sarah and Anita were invited to testify at a North Carolina legislative hearing. Sarah, clutching the original penny drop invoice for luck, spoke plainly. "We just wanted to live in our homes without fear of fines for gnomes or wind chimes. We didn't plan a rebellion, we planned a better way." Anita, in her signature blazer, outlined the charter's pillars: transparent budgets, public votes on fines, and a ban on drone surveillance. The room applauded. A state senator requested a copy, saying, "This could reshape how we govern neighborhoods." The hearing birthed the Willow Creek Bill, a legislative package mandating HOA transparency, third-party elections, term limits, and a homeowner's Bill of Rights. It included protections for decorative expression and the right to record meetings, rights that Evelyn had crushed. Posted online, the bill gained thousands of petition signatures. Hashtags like Penny Power and Flamingo Freedom trended, fueled by stories from across the U.S. Fines for kids' chalk drawings in Texas, bans on colorful flowers in Arizona. Advocacy groups rallied, and a retired judge called our charter a masterclass in grassroots governance. Local governments held reform panels, often name-dropping Willow Creek. A national HOA firm cited us in a white paper, making Willow Creek Model industry shorthand for post-tyranny recovery. Back home, Copperfest grew bigger. The 2025 event drew 500 people, with food trucks, a penny toss contest, and a flamingo parade. Kids wore foam fingers saying, "1 cent warrior." A state representative gifted a plaque, "Willow Creek wear freedom rings, 1 penny at a time." We added a charity drive, raising $5,000 for elderly residents fighting HOA liens. Sarah's podcast, HOA Heroes, hit Apple's top 50, featuring homeowners who'd beaten their Evelyns. Tom, now a minor Reddit celebrity, shared his violation bingo game online, with squares like "fined for breathing" and "drone spotted." His meme, "I pay and wait," graced reformer profiles nationwide. Evelyn's attempts to claw back relevance flopped. Her blog, HOA Myths Exposed, got 20 views, half from bots. She tried one last TikTok, ranting about digital terrorism, but it was drowned in penny emojis. The class action suit from 12 residents moved forward, seeking $50,000 for illegal fines and distress. Evelyn's lawyer, Leonard Pratt, begged her to settle. She refused, yelling in court, "I built order." The judge sighed. "You built a lawsuit." Discovery exposed more emails where Evelyn bragged about teaching rebels a lesson. Her financial ruin loomed, but her ego held firm. Last we heard, she'd moved to a no HOA town in Georgia, muttering to a neighbor about ungrateful peasants. The neighbor laughed, "Lady, you're famous for losing." Willow Creek glowed. Gardens burst with purples and reds. Mailboxes sported quirky magnets, and a flamingo in a free-to-be sash stood by the entrance. Our HOA office, once Evelyn's fortress, was now a hub of warmth. A chalkboard listed neighborly acts of the month, like Clara baking for new move-ins or Tom fixing a kid's bike. Meetings were potlucks, with dogs lounging and kids doodling. The phrase "Madam President" was banned. Sarah was just Sarah. Our charter, Downloadable for free, hit 10,000 downloads. A Minnesota HOA adopted it wholesale, emailing us, "You saved our cul-de-sac." Every year, we hold 1 cent day to mark the penny drop. It started with pancakes, moved to a gnome parade, and ended at Copper Court, where each resident dropped a penny into a copper bowl. Not for luck, but for memory. Some taped notes to their coins. "For my fine wind chime. For my dog's bark." Kids loved Tom's reenactment of "Curbside or Inside, Madam President," while Sarah narrated the lawsuit like a crime drama. Anita read the charter's opening. "This community is ours. No one may silence or shame it." The final penny, taped to Evelyn's first fine for my disharmonious mailbox, was dropped by the newest resident. As it clinked, we fell silent, then cheered. Someone whispered, "She found a turtle?" Another replied, "And got turtled into history." 2 years on, Willow Creek was unrecognizable not in its houses, but in its spirit. Laughter replaced fear. Wind chimes sang freely. Newcomers heard the penny saga before unpacking, a rite of passage. "Welcome to Willow Creek," we'd say. "We like our flamingos bold and our bylaws kind." Sarah stayed on the board, grumbling about retiring, but always swayed by Clara's cookies. Tom's mini penny pallet, holding 237 coins, sat in the HOA office with a sign, "Break in case of tyranny." Realtors marketed our rebel roots as a draw, and buyers flocked to join a place where community trumped control. Evelyn's name faded, except in one place. The Harper Clause, Section 9.4 of our charter. It barred anyone with fraudulent credentials from holding office and ended. We learned from mistakes loudly. Kids told her story like a ghost tale, but our monster was a realtor with a clipboard and a grudge. The sign at our entrance, carved by a local artist, read, "Willow Creek, home of the 1 cent uprising. All welcome, except you-know-who." It wasn't just a jab, it was a promise. We'd never let another Evelyn rule us. The penny drop started as revenge, but ended as reform. From a prank, we sparked legislation, liberated a suburb, and built a legacy of flamingos and fairness. As Sarah said at Copperfest, raising a glass, Evelyn wanted power. We gave her pennies, and we gave ourselves a home. That home wasn't just Willow Creek, it was a model for every neighborhood tired of fines and ready for freedom. And somewhere, Evelyn watches, knowing her empire of rules collapsed under the weight of our coins. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the Willow Creek Rebellion? Have you faced a tyrant like Evelyn in your community, or seen injustice spark a fight back? Share your stories, especially on themes of power, fairness, and standing up to abuse. Take a stand, tell us where you draw the line on authority gone wrong. Your voice matters, and we're all ears for the next chapter of real-life rebellions.